Next is Bob Thomas. His nominating speech will be given by Mac Parker.
Good morning. As the chairman indicated, my name is Mac Parker. And if you think a minister has trouble with 2 minutes, how about a lawyer? I've known Bob Thomas since he came to Fort Wayne in 1980, which is 30 years ago. Bob started by taking over an unprofitable Lincoln Mercury business out on Coliseum Boulevard. It was absolutely the worst time to take over any business, just at the start of the 1980s recession. If you recall, interest rates went over 20% and unemployment topped out over 15%, 5% more than today. Despite these tough times, due to hard work, picking good employees, and serving his customer, Bob made a success out of that Lincoln Mercury dealership. He went on to buy Bob Jackson Ford in 1992 and Allen County Motors in 1997. Today, the dealership is called Dimension Ford and Dimension Lincoln Mercury, and it's the largest Ford dealership in Indiana. During his 30 years in business, Bob has had to face all types of problems and deal with all types of people. Bankers, Detroit auto executives, unions, elected officials, and of course, customers and employees. This down-to-earth business experience is what is needed to solve the mess in Washington today. Bob also is well qualified from his educational background. He's a graduate of Princeton and Harvard Business School. There, both with high honors. And which takes not only, as we well know, a lot of smarts, but a lot of hard work. Incidentally, Meg Whitman, who was just nominated for the Republican governorship of California, there was a classmate of Bob's at Harvard Business School. From an academic point of view, Bob is not overwhelmed by anyone he runs into in D.C. Bob Thomas not only has an outstanding background of education, but real business experience, and he's already proven himself with the voters of the 3rd District. It's my privilege to nominate for 3rd District Congress and introduce my good friend, Bob Thomas.
My wife and daughters are standing behind me because when we started this process 4 months ago in the primary, battling against Mark Souder, they were with me at every step of the way. And they were excited and they enjoyed the prospect of coming back up here to Fort Wayne, moving into that little apartment that we've been living in for the last couple of months, and taking on this challenge. And over the last 4 months, I have spoken to thousands of people in the 3rd District. And I can tell you that they're scared, they're worried, they're frustrated, and they think that they have been betrayed by their own federal government. And they're beginning to carry little pocket constitutions, and that's probably a pretty good sign, because they're going back to what made us great. They're going back to our roots, and they've all learned about the framers. And you can tell that everybody knows that the framers didn't intend it to be this way. No, the framers intended it that somebody would become a civil servant. They'd go to work, they'd go to Washington at the end of a long career, and they'd do their duty, not for political gain, not for profit, but just to do their duty. I'm a businessman. I've been in business for 30 years. I fit that profile. And nothing has changed since we started this battle 4 months ago. This country is still bankrupt. We are facing the worst economic situations we can, and nobody has more at stake in the 3rd District than I do. And I choose the House of Representatives because if you really want to stop the spending in Washington, you do it from the House of Representatives. You don't do it from the Senate. That's where the spending bills originate. And I just want to ask a couple of quick questions. Where were all these civic leaders 4 months ago when it was tough, when you had to go up against a strong incumbent and you had to sacrifice a lot of time, blood, sweat, and tears, and yes, money to fight for the people in the 3rd District? And how many times did somebody come up to me and say, are you going to vote what your constituents want, or are you just going to do what you want to do? Well, I can tell you, 27,000 people 5 weeks ago voted for me in this seat in this district, and nobody else on this platform can say that. And let's not forget the task at hand. This country is facing the greatest challenges it has faced in a long time. The next war will not be fought with bombs and missiles. It will probably be fought with currency exchanges, credit default swaps, and treasury auctions. The next enemy won't be wearing a uniform and carrying a gun. He'll probably be building a bomb in his garage or working in his investment house. So who do you want to stand in Washington, D.C. when Barack Obama walks into the House and says, you have two choices. You either raise taxes dramatically to pay for all this spending, or you let us go to the credit markets and print money and watch inflation go out of sight. Because that's what's going to happen. And it's no more than the future of your children that is at stake. Who do you want up there making those decisions? Thank you.